And we are live. Hello and welcome to the live stream. My name is Fabian Holland, and if you don't know me, if it is the first time that we're meeting, hi, how's it going? I'm a guitarist, singer-songwriter from the UK, but I'm actually based in Berlin. And on this channel, we talk a lot about guitar techniques and songwriting and recording and performing, basically everything to do with being a singer-songwriter. And this is the live stream. And in this live stream, we're talking about what is performance-based recording. And that's something that we're going to get into today. But if you are joining us live, then please just drop a message in the chat. Just let me know that you can hear me okay. I've turned down the mic a little bit recently because I was getting a little bit too excited in my performance, my playing, and I was actually clipping a little bit, which I didn't realize. Only when I was looking back on the recordings, I realized that. Hope everyone's doing good. What has everyone been up to today? I went to a birthday party today, which was good. You know, you have a lot of birthday parties around this time. You know, my son's 6, so a lot of 6-year-old birthday parties, which is always fun. I always enjoyed it. We got one today, and then we got another one tomorrow. It's good fun, but you know, it's exhausting. It's a bunch of kids running around, all excited and high on sugar and all that. Drop me a message in the chat if you can relate to kids' birthday parties, and you know that feeling. So I'm a little exhausted. So we'll see how long I last before I start falling asleep, because it's quite late here in Berlin. Well, it's not that late. It's like 9 o'clock, but I usually start drifting off around 10. So last week I mentioned about that I wanted to have like turn this into kind of a show, and give it a bit of a name. I hate choosing names. So if anybody has any suggestions about a name for these live streams, you know, because I'm doing it every Saturday, then just let me know in the chat, or if you're watching the replay, let me know in the comments below. You know, I was thinking something like songwriter sessions or something like this. I know that's not original at all, and there's probably a podcast, a video podcast that is called Songwriter Sessions. But you know, around this sort of theme, yeah. So that's basically where I'm at. Yeah, we'll get to it. So performance-based recording is basically when you have an emphasis on the performance when recording. And what does that mean? It basically means the performance comes first, before almost before anything else, you know. A lot of what I do is in the details of the performance, and when I'm trying to give a good performance, I'm trying to find these kind of emotions that I want to come across in the song, and I find that in the small details that I when I'm performing, you know. And well, I'll look at that a little bit later, but I don't want to go into it too deep first. But it's basically, it starts with, for me, recording guitar and vocals at the same time. You know, I've tried to record guitar and vocals separately in the past. and it's, of course it works, it's fine, but it's kind of, I always feel like it's missing something. And I feel like when I'm doing a performance, I really have to do them together at the same time. And I really enjoy, just using one mic when recording stuff like this, just having a really simple setup. And of course, the mic and everything, the microphone and your technical setup matters, especially microphone placement. But I would argue that performance comes before that. It's even more important. It's kind of on the same level, maybe just below, like the songwriting. So the songwriting is really up there. You can give a bad song a great performance, and it would sound great, but it will still be a bad song. Whatever a bad song is, I'll leave that up to you to decide. But if it's a great song and it's a great performance, then it's just, it ticks both boxes, And when you have these two things together, you don't necessarily need an amazing setup, when in terms of recording and microphone or anything like this. But yeah, I don't want to get too deep into that, but that's basically kind of where I'm coming from with that. I might start a song, I'll start a song. I usually do a song in these, or a couple of songs in these live streams. Yeah, so we'll start with that. I'm in DADGAD here, DADGAD. It's my it's the tuning I like to use the most. And I'm using this really nice No Hype Audio microphone. It's a ribbon microphone, and I'm actually using the pickup. I've started using the pickup as well, and the microphone picks up a little bit of the guitar. Because I'm doing a live stream, it's really quite tricky to do, like, if I was recording. If I was setting this mic up properly, I wouldn't have it on the corner here, at all. It's not the position I would like it to be. But just for the sake of, like, the live stream, it works. It's okay, yeah, it picks up. I just need it to pick up. So don't be thinking like, oh, you're talking about recording, but your mic position is all rubbish. That's just because it's a live stream. And I consider these live streams almost like a live performance. Not necessarily like a proper recording session. I would probably be at this more like this kind of angle if I was doing it properly. But it's it picks up the sound, but it does pick up the guitar pretty well because it's over here. It picks up a lot of the low end. Not too much of the high, so I've got my my pickup with a bit of reverb. Just to give it a bit of a touch of that little bit nice reverb. Hey Christopher, how's it going? Guten Abend. Good to have you here. If you could let me know, you can hear me okay? And it's coming through loud enough. I've turned down the volume recently in the past couple of streams. So I just want to make sure that it's loud enough and you can hear me okay. Yeah, I'll start off with a song. This is Another Monday from my latest album. Here we go.
It was a long winter's day, and the sun came my way. Couldn't believe, and like millions before, we're just in awe, his mum and me. All the stress we endure, hardly take more pain in our heads. Oh, you're not alone, got 12 kids at home, the taxi man said. And oh, the weather is bad and the traffic's the same. To anybody else, it's just another Monday. And all them people are mad, and the trains are delayed. To anybody else, it's just another Monday. In this bubble we are, and we've made it thus far, 10 hours in. But the next 13 hours won't be harder still, and that's when it begins. My, oh my, what a sight, as your mum holds me tight as she breathes. Oh, those 13 hours will be harder still. 1, 2, 3. Oh, weather is bad and the traffic's the same. To anybody else, it's just another Monday. And all the weather is bad and the trains are delayed. To anybody else, it's just another Monday.
And that was Another Monday. And that's actually about the birth of my son. Because I thought it was very crazy that it was the most insane day of my life, of our life, the most wonderful and the most terrifying, but it was just another Monday to everyone else. Hey, Paul, how's it going? Good to have you here. Welcome. Hope you're good. So today we're talking about what is performance-based recording. And that's basically something I take my approach to every time I record. And it basically takes the performance comes first before pretty much anything else. It's the songwriting and then the performance. And I just kind of want to talk about this kind of idea and this concept a little bit. It's not really a concept. It's kind of it's obvious, I think. Of course you should do a good performance, of course. But for me, it starts with recording guitar and vocals at the same time. And when you're doing that, it's really important to have a really good performance. And I think when you're recording guitar and vocals separately, and maybe you're recording to a click track, and you're doing lots of editing after and stuff, I feel like the performance sometimes gets lost in that, because maybe you do lots and lots of different takes and then you mish that all together. And it's a great way of getting a really polished sound. I think a lot of a lot of people do this, I think most, if not all, mainstream musicians do this, that they do lots of takes and they take the best bits of each take and they mush them together. And they do every instrument is separate and it's to a click track and it's, very rigid. And I don't like to record to a click track because I want the kind of the tempo and the rhythm to kind of move with the song. It doesn't always work with drums. Drummers don't like that. But I think, if you listen to some old recording of with a drummer in, obviously they're not recording to a click track. The tempo does kind of move a little bit. And I think it's more natural to me. It definitely sounds natural. I don't think it's natural to have everything bang on the rhythm. Anyway, we're talking about drums, and I know nothing about drums. But anyway, this is just how I feel about recording. And I wanted to share that, and I wanted to get your opinion as well on this. If you do record, just drop me in the chat, drop a message in the chat and just say me, just out of interest, who records here. I'm guessing most people record these days because it's just so easy to pick up enough stuff to be able to record yourself. You can record yourself with just your phone. It's not going to be amazing recording, but at least it's something. And I think we should all take the chance to try and record ourselves, because if you record yourself often and you listen back, you really get to know how the song sounds and how you perform and certain things, how you perform, basically. And that's what all this is about. So yeah, I record vocals and guitar at the same time. And before the production quality, even before the instrument quality sometimes, which I know sounds crazy, like what? You can listen to a bad sounding instrument if the performance is great. And I don't mean like an out of tune guitar. I don't think you could have a great performance, but if it's an out of tune guitar, it would just sound bad. If it's in tune, I'm just talking about playing maybe a cheap guitar that doesn't sound particularly great at all. Some bad quality guitars. If it's in tune and it's a great performance, it would sound great. I believe this. Yeah, let's go to the chat. Christopher says haunting sound. Thanks, Ardy, the on the song. Cheers. I never found the right angle or the right position for the mic. I used a Shure SM57. Great mic. I got a lot of my iPad switched to the Apogee mic. Okay, what's the Apogee mic? I thought that was an interface. Is that not? Hold on. Let me just get this up. The Apogee mic. Oh, okay, it's this one. Is it like a USB mic? It looks like a USB mic. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, you can use anything, you know. Do you still use the SM57? 57s are great, you know, they're classic. You can definitely get a decent sound from the 57. I've seen some people use an SM57 for vocals to use, and you can, because you can use it, get it really close, and so you don't get any bleed, you know, from the mic, from the guitar mic, you know, if you're using a different mic for the guitar. I've seen some people do that. You could try that maybe. I don't know if something like that works, and then you can mix them after, you know. That's cool. You know, yeah, you can use literally any mic. I mean, this is not an expensive mic, you know. This is a ribbon mic. This is like I can look at it now. Hold on. I don't know how much they are now. So it's the No Hype Audio. They're based in Belgium, and I really like their mics, you know, because it's just a small company. Let me have a look now here, if I can find it. No Hype Audio. I can let me share my screen because you can see what I'm looking. It's pretty good, but anyway, it's we're not talking about mics necessarily in this one, but I get carried away. I just find that ribbon mics suit me and this kind of sound that I'm after. It might not suit you, you know, just to be warned. It might not be the sound that you're looking for, you know, so bear that in mind. Okay, it came back. Ah, okay. You know what? I think when I go to the screen, sorry, when I went to the screen, I think my sound came off. Can you hear me now? Just let me know you can hear me. Okay, I need to sort that for next time. Okay, I won't share my screen. I think my audio has turned off when I go to the screen. I'll change that for next time. Yeah, basically what I was saying, it's 187 euros right now for this one. That's all I was saying when I was sharing my screen. But it might not be the mic, you know, the best mic for you. But it's a really nice mic, basically. What does Christopher say? Exact USB, yeah. I still use in combination with my amp. Okay. So are you using electric guitar then? Is that... do you use electric? Maybe you use the SM57 for the amp. That could work. SM57s are great for amps. A lot of people use them. I don't have too much experience with recording amps, to be honest. I mainly do acoustic, but I have amps, you know. I play lap steel, electric lap steel. Yeah. That's cool. But anyway, what I was saying with the mics, you don't necessarily have to go for something that's super expensive. You know, the mics you can find these days pretty affordable and sound very good. I haven't tried any of those USB mics. I know they do it because it's very easy, plug and play kind of thing. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the sound quality because I haven't actually tried them myself. But you know, you can start. You can start anywhere. You know, just get recording. And with the performance, what I'm talking about with the performance-based recording, you know, it's if you do a great performance, it doesn't really matter what mic you're using. It really doesn't. It would sound great with whatever mic, you know. Yeah. So I was talking about instruments and great sound, great song plus great performance is kind of ticking those two boxes, you know. Yeah. And sort of, so the next question is, what is a great performance? And this is something that I've been thinking about a lot. And let me know in the comments what is a great performance to you. But it's something that I thought about because it's not necessarily something that is technically great, you know. To me personally, when I think about like what am I trying to do when I really try and do a great performance of a song, it's not necessarily that I want to go all flashy and show off and play really fast. I do that sometimes as well, you know, but of course, that's not part of what I consider a great performance. For me, when I try and ask the questions, does it capture the feeling and the emotions of the song, basically? Does that come across when I am playing, when I perform? And to me, if it does, then that's a great performance, you know. And a lot of this is in the small details for my stuff, for what I do. It's in the dynamics, and it's in like the human vulnerability of things, you know, like hearing the sound of a voice cracking when you're singing. It's these sort of human elements. It's hearing the different dynamics of your playing at certain moments. And yeah, it's all these things, but I find it's really in the tiny details, and those sort of those small moments that make a great performance compared to a good performance, you know. So that's basically what I'm looking for. So when I record, I record a song in a session, maybe like between 3 to 5 times. If it's more than 5 times, then usually I stop and I move to another song, because it can get to a stage, for me at least, where it's getting kind of too old. It's too I'm just going through the motions of it, you know. And so I try and get it within the first 3 takes if possible. Most of my recordings are that, because it's, you know, it's fresh, and you can there's something about these fresh performances, getting them in the first 3 takes, that's just it just sounds a lot better to me personally anyway. Yeah, so it's in these kind of tiny little details, and so I go through them, and then I have a listen back, and I basically choose a whole take. I really try not to edit at all. I don't like edit bits from different takes and then mush them together or anything like that. I really try and just choose a whole take, that I like the best, and just kind of go with that, you know. And it's in these tiny little details that kind of make the difference for me when I'm deciding which is the best take, you know. And it can be more interesting as well, you know. I mean, I geek out on this a bit. I quite like the sound of the guitar when it's on your kind of clothes and stuff like this. You know, you can hear kind of, I don't know if you can hear that. This creaking sort of sound, you know, and the sound of your fingers on the strings and the frets and all these tiny little sounds, you know, make it more human to me. And that's part of it. That's what I'm trying to come across. I hope that makes sense. But let me know what you're looking for, you know, in a recording, in a great performance. It's actually really hard to describe that in words. But basically it's capturing the feelings and emotions of that song. When I write the song, I'm trying to capture certain feelings and emotions, and in the performance I'm also trying to make that come across as much as possible. So that's what a great performance is in my eyes, but I'll be interested to know what it is in your eyes. And the next thing is, how do I do a great performance? You know, how do you get a great performance? I feel like you don't need to be technically great to do a great performance, you know. You just need to be able to play what you've written. So I try not to write too much. So I try not to write something that's too technical for me to be able to play live, you know. I like to be able to play it comfortably. Although when I improvise, that's kind of different. That can be, you know, I can kind of go off on a tangent, and I can play. I can often try and play stuff that's too quick for me or too technically advanced, and I mess it up all the time. But that's a whole nother thing of improvising. But in general, I try not to write something that's too advanced for me. You know, because if I'm focusing too much on my techniques, then I'm not focused on the performance in a way, if that makes sense. If I'm really trying to focus on where my fingers are going at the right points, and trying to hit the strings at the right moments, I feel like I'm not necessarily focused entirely on the performance side of things. And I know that is kind of the performance, but I feel like it's hard to describe. It's like if I was driving, you know, if I was focusing too much on the actual movements of driving, you know, and not focused on the road, you know, the performance is the road and the actual how you're driving, if you're driving really well, you know. And the kind of the doing the technical stuff is just the moving of the gear stick. In Germany here we use gear sticks, and the steering wheel and everything, and the pedals, you know. And it's a similar thing, I feel, a little bit. When you're playing guitar, it's just, I don't want to focus too much on that. That should be just an automatic thing, almost a muscle memory thing. And the performance is everything else. It's these little moments, these dynamics. It's these moments that I can really try and convey these emotions that I want to try and bring in this song, if that makes sense. Let's go to the chat here. Christopher says, my first recording with my new setup, flute and guitar. Interesting. I was in the right mood and I gave it a try. Nice. Yeah. That's interesting. Flute and guitar. So, which one do you play? Do you have someone that plays flute and you play guitar? That's a nice setup. I've never played with flute before. That probably sounds very nice. Paul Thompson, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. I've been recording for years, but still find click tracks. What does that say? Stifles somehow. No CT seem more able to get something more real and more satisfying to me. Do you have any solutions? Yeah, click tracks. I don't like click tracks. Let me just read your question again. Hold on. I've been recording for years, but still find click tracks stifles somehow. Is that stifles? Yeah, I think it is. Sorry, I'm really dyslexic. No CT seem more able to get something more real. Oh, CT click track. Get it. I get it. There we go. Brain's working now. More real, more satisfying to me. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have played with the click track before when I played with a drummer, and I did find that the performance just kind of wasn't there a little bit, you know. Stifles equals holds me back from giving better performance. Yeah. Cheers. Yeah, it's me too, man. Me too. It really, I really don't like playing to a click track, and you know, a lot of people are fine with it. And I feel like a lot of people do it because, you know, if you want to use especially drums, it kind of makes sense, I guess. But I feel like I'd prefer to play. If I'm playing with other instruments, I want to play in a room all together. But I know that's not always possible to all record in the same room together. But you know, with what I'm doing right now, I'm just doing a lot of guitar and vocals recording, and that's it. You know, maybe I'll bring in some other instruments, but not necessarily drums as such. Do you play with a lot of drums then? Do you add drums in your songs? I don't do too much of that, although I did in one of my albums. But yeah, I think from moving forward for me, I'm if I do play with drums, I'm gonna try and play with the drums in the same room, or at least get a drummer that can just play to my recording. You know, I think a lot of drummers these days, especially session drummers, are very used to click tracks and almost require a click track. You know. But I don't know. I haven't played with a drummer in a long time. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. But yeah, absolutely. Like recording without a click track is way more natural, I find, for me as a performance. You know, and this is kind of what I'm getting on, that we should be focusing on the performance. The performance should come first, you know, before anything else. For me anyway, and that's kind of what I'm what I'm all about. Hope that makes sense. Yeah. So, how do I get a great performance? This is something I've been thinking about a lot. So I try and focus on the performance, and I think about what emotions I'm trying to convey when I'm performing. And I think about at what points in the song are best to have these moments, these tiny details, I call them. It could be like at the end of the chorus. With the way that I write, a lot of at the end of the choruses, comes to sort of some kind of build up. It usually has some kind of word or something, or sums up what the song is about towards the end of the chorus. And usually this is quite a good moment to kind of bring in some of those tiny details. Usually there a lot of emphasis on dynamics I bring in. Dynamics are a great way if you utilize dynamics, it's a great way of kind of using that to convey emotions in music, I find. But yeah, I think about these moments and where in these moments in the song I can introduce these tiny details and these dynamics and such. Yeah, so think about where I can put these in these moments, and that is kind of the performance-based recording. But just out of interest, who here records guitar and vocals together? Does anybody here record separately? That would be interesting. If you're watching this on the replay, then let me know in the comments below. I feel like probably most people are more comfortable not playing to a click track, right? It just feels so unnatural to play to this clink 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 clink. It's just and it's weird because it's like, it's not that I actually want to be in time, I actually feel like it's more natural to fluctuate tempo, that it gets a little faster and a little slower, as long as it's not like dramatically so. I feel like that's okay, yeah. Let me know what your thoughts are on that below. So if you just joined us, we're talking about what is performance-based recording, and this is basically just a term that I use. I don't know if anybody else used this, performance-based recording. But I talked about what it meant, and it's a lot to do with performance comes first. And I talked about what is a great performance, capturing feelings and emotions in a song, and then I went to how do I do a great performance. Yeah. So you don't need to be technically great to give a great performance. I think there's probably loads of examples of musicians that are not necessarily technically great, but they just give great performances. So yeah, that's basically how I feel about things, and that the song, obviously you need a great song, but the next is definitely the performance when you're recording, and you can hear that in the recording. And I think, like, don't worry about the technical side of things. Don't worry if you don't have a really expensive microphone or anything like this. Focus on the performance, because that will come across in the recording. I feel like it would people can hear a great performance over a bad sounding microphone, or I don't know, a not so great sounding guitar. You know, if it's a great performance, or even a not really great song, if it's a great performance, it kind of, I wouldn't say it doesn't matter, but it can hide that fact. You know, people are not necessarily focusing on these things, although I would say the song is definitely as important to have a good song. But yeah, so that's kind of performance-based recording. I don't want to go in too deep, and as I said before, I'm a bit tired today because I went to a birthday party, and I've got another one tomorrow of a 6-year-old's birthday party. Not an adult's birthday party. So I'll do one more song, and then if anybody has any questions or any comments regarding kind of what I've talked about, or anything, any other things, then now's your time to drop it in the chat. And if you're watching this on the replay, then hello from the past. If you have any questions, then drop that down as well. Okay. I'm going to do a song called Banks of the Dee. It's a traditional English song, mining song from the north of England. And I'll try and capture these moments to give a great performance, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Here we go. Last Saturday night by the banks of the Dee, oh, and I met an old man under stress I could see, and I sat down beside him, and to me he did say, oh, I can't get employment for me hair, it's turned grey. Oh, I am an old miner, aged 56. If I could get lots, what I'd raffle me pigs. I'd raffle them and I'd sell them, and I'd haul them away. But I can't get employment for me hair, it's turned grey.
Wednesday night. To the reckoning I went, to the culinary office I went straight for an nest. And I got me wage packet and I was walking away when they gave us me notice for me hair it's turned grey. Oh, I am an old miner, aged 56. If I could get lots, what I'd raffle me picks. I'd raffle them and I'd sell them and I'd haul them away. But I can't get employment for me hair, it's turned grey.
That was Banks of the D. Okay. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining the live stream. Christopher, Paul, and other Paul, thanks so much. Really appreciate you guys. Yeah, and if you don't know, just to quickly mention, I have a little community I'm building on my website, fabianholland.com. And if you just go over there and sign up, it's completely free, just on your just need your email address and your name. And I'm trying to build this community of other guitarists, singer-songwriters, and I basically just kind of do vlogs on there, and I basically just spill out my ideas. It's like YouTube ideas and things I'm thinking about, things I'm going through. It's stuff that I go in a little bit deeper. If you want to get a bit deeper with me, you know, stuff that I don't necessarily talk about too much on my YouTube channel. So if you feel like you're into that and that's be something you're interested in, then just head over to fabianholland.com. There's a link in this description below where you can go over there. It's completely free, and it's a nice little community that I'm building over there. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day, evening, morning, wherever you are, and I will see you all on the next live stream. Thanks so much. Take care.